Hello everyone, Chris Martinson at Peak Prosperity reporting still from Buenos Aires, and there may be a few disruptions here. I'm in a very busy spot again. And here's your weekly update. It is Friday, June 9th, 2017. Wow, what a week. So we have all this political drama going on. There's stuff in Washington, D.C., and we have things going on with hearings, and of course there was some elections in the UK. But you'll notice that none of these things have had any impact on stock markets, which are again powering to new all-time highs. And so we had a recent webinar discussing why that is, and that webinar was entirely about central banks and central banking, because we live in central bank controlled markets. And as you know, we happen to think that's a really bad idea at Peak Prosperity. And the reason is you can print a lot of things up, but you can't print prosperity. You can print up a wealth gap. Hey, mission accomplished. You can print up bubbles, mission accomplished. So that's the world we live in. And by the way, when these bubbles finally break, it's going to be the most extraordinary and upsetting bubble bursting ever. Remember, we had that first bubble in 2000. That broke. That had a very, very bad effect. Then we had a second bubble break in 2007-8. That was a bad one. That was worse than the earlier one. This one is going to be worse than the other ones. And these bubbles are all over the place. Let's just talk about one place that we're seeing the bubbles beginning to burst right now, which is in Toronto, in Canada. Their real estate market finally starting to roll over, it looks like, where we're seeing sales slow down, we're seeing prices begin to fall, we're seeing inventory climb. And let's look at the numbers really quickly. The median household income in Toronto is about $75,000. I'm rounding here, which means that the average house should cost around $225,000, but in fact, the average house is $960,000. So what happens when all of these people in Toronto, in Melbourne, in all the other bubble places in the world, in London, in Palo Alto, California, what happens again when their financial asset prices that got inflated stop inflating, in fact, begin to reverse? Well, these people are trapped. They're stuck in huge mortgages, no equity in their houses, and this is just going to be, again, a repeat of what we saw before, but this time it's going to be far worse because this isn't a real estate bubble. I'm just putting some of these numbers up just to be clear that, yes, we have real estate bubbles again, but we have equity bubbles, we have bond bubbles, we've got bubbles in the prices of practically everything you can track at this point, and then these things are going to, of course, break and reverse. That's what happens. So that's why I'm writing this week. We've got a new report up at Peak Prosperity, which is going through the base data that says, look, there's a lot of economic weakness right now, sky-high stock prices, and this level of economic weakness we're seeing, they don't make sense. Of course, a lot of things don't make sense, and they don't have to. When central banks print as they've done, prices can do whatever they're going to do. But if you track the base data, eventually you will discover where we really are in this story. So we continue to track that. I want you to stay oriented to what's really going on. I think it's absolutely ridiculous that the central banks have been getting away with and have been supported by the political structure to do what they've been doing. It's disgusting, and it's anti-life when you get right down to it. To create things that are just going to blow up on you and to perpetuate this delusion that we can have perpetual expansion, that all we need is more debt, more borrowing, more spending. If we just have more of that, everything's good. And of course, that's not the case. So with that, there's your weekly update from Buenos Aires. I can't wait to bring you the next one. It's beautiful. It's lovely here. The people are amazing. And I'm learning what it means to be in a place where people's economic hopes got crushed by bad policy. And let me tell you, it has real impacts. So with that, I'm signing off, Chris Martinson. I will see you next week.